Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and today I'll be talking to you about the possible candidates for the new Everton manager's position. This comes around far, far too often. It came around once every 18 months. Now it's once a year. It's mental, isn't it? This just goes to show what pick. I know Majiri said the other day, maybe I've been too hasty sacking managers, meaning Silva, which I think there's an argument there, maybe. But get the right one first. Everyone's like, oh, he sacks them too easy. Doesn't sack them too easily. If anything, he holds on too long. He needs to make the right decision. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The candidates, how they line up, who are they? So yeah, the candidates today, looking at the odds on favourites are Marcelo Bielsa, who, as of recording, I do believe they've met an impasse. I will talk about that when we get to him. Sean Dyche, Ralph Hasenhuttl, Carlos Corberan, and Sam Allardyce, who we all know very, very well. So I'll start off with Bielsa because he is the most popular, the most popular man here. Um, and we did do some polls as well, which narrowed down. Yeah, so Bielsa, Mashiri, from the report, he's Mashiri's main man. He's the one he wants. He's the one he's begging for. And it'll be interesting to see if he gets him. Apparently, Bielsa was at first saying he might come in the summer after. Even if we go down, he said he's not bothered. Not bothered, but he doesn't mind him. If we go down, he'll still come. He wants to build, and he's not afraid of the championship, which is all well and good saying that. But the whole point is we can't go down. I mean, Bielsa comes with his good and his bad. Since then, though, we've been said that the other options are if we don't get it. Everton ideally want an ideology manager, so Bielsa sort of suits that. The problem came that they met an impasse, according to Miguel Delaney, and that's mainly due to Bielsa and his staff. Apparently, Everton's negotiations with Bielsa have reached an impasse with a considerable gap in positions. Bielsa's asked for a package of over 10 million. This also has the feeling that a number of requests and questions can't be dealt with within the sufficient time. So he wants players as well as a 10 million package. And a whole load of staff, and Everton just don't think they've got the time to do that, which when there's only 5 days left of the window, they don't have enough time to be getting in the players. So it looks like we might be looking at other people. Everton apparently have been speaking to Hasenhuttl, Allardyce and Corberan, and some believe Dyche is still being spoken to, although I've got a feeling that's done. So it looks like Bielsa is frozen over, but we will talk about Bielsa anyway, just because why not? Obviously, we know him from Leeds, plays a 4-1-4-1 formation. A bit of a journeyman. Pep Guardiola is very complimentary of him. Managers compliment him quite a lot. He reminds me a bit of Ragnick a little bit. So when you hear Jurgen Klopp and the others who played a gegenpressing system, they'll talk about Ragnick being the godfather of it, etc. It's almost like Guardiola talks about Bielsa the same way, but it's ironic because those two managers have gone in, Klopp and Guardiola have gone on to take their methods, improve them, and go on to be world-class managers. As much as it pains me to say that. And Ragnick isn't as renowned of a manager. He is as a director of football, and Bielsa isn't renowned, but he's not won the trophies that Pep Guardiola has. So yeah, he's been around the block as well. He's managed in Argentina. He's managed in Spain with Espanyol, managed 12 games there, 68 games as Argentina manager, and then managed 51 games with Chile, 113 with Athletic Bilbao, 41 with Marseille, none with Lazio, and 14 with Lille, and 170 with Leeds. So Leeds was his longest club. He has been known to be he's a live wire. He is just a bit mad. He's a bit of a live wire. He is a sort of it can either go brilliantly or it can burn in flames. His Leeds team did very well in the Championship. I have to say that. It's very expansive football, though. It's very quick. It's very moving. Sort of move around. And that makes me worry a little bit because he's already highlighted that we don't have the players for his style of play. And I agree. I don't think we do have the players for his style of play. I don't think we have the pace in the players for the style of play he wants. And I don't think we have the intelligence on some of the players to play his style of play. A lot of people do like him, but I just can't see it working. If I'm God's honest truth, I think we go down with him, and I think we go down in a blaze of glory. But I think we go down with Bielsa. I can see why he's fan favorite because I think the idea of him is lovely, but I just can't. I just can't see it happening. That Leeds spell last season before he was sacked, he was getting battered 6-0 by Liverpool, 4-0 by Spurs. We beat them 3-0. It was really, not just 1 or 2 goals, 7-0 by City. They were big margins. They beat Fulham 5-6, which is a bit mental. To me, it just screams let a 6-2 to United. There's a lot of goals being let in. We're already a very leaky team. We let Bournemouth score 7 past us with Bielsa. I think you're opening the blue sea. You're splitting it right down the middle, and it's a free for all for everyone's attackers. So that's my thoughts on Bielsa. I don't think it'll happen now, potentially with the impasse, but I don't think he's the right man to get us to safety. He might be an all right project manager. So somebody that if we could support properly, he might end up doing all right. But I don't think we've got the players for him, and I don't think we'll get the players for him. I can just see it being an absolute disaster. I have this worrying feeling if we hired him, he'd be gone again in March because we'll be right or April because we'll have been gone and we're right down the bottom. That's my thoughts on Marcelo Bielsa. I just don't think he suits Everton Football Club. Really. Next we'll move on to Carlos Corberan. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna try and, swizz you. I didn't really know much about him. I know he's at West Brom. He plays a 4-2-3-1, so I've done some research on him here. He's played 12 matches in the Championship this season, I believe that is 2022-23. Won 9, lost 3. Since coming to West Brom, he's done really well. He's done really, really well with West Brom. He's managed to get them the results. I think they've gone on a right little bounce. He's managed Al Nassr. He's been assistant manager at Al Nassr. He's managed a couple of teams in Greece, I think that is. Then he was Leeds under 21 manager. Then he was Huddersfield manager, Olympiacos manager, and now West Brom manager. So again, he's been a bit of everywhere. Greece mainly, and in the Championship, which is fine, by the way. I'm not knocking the Championship. You could get some great players there, and there's got to be great managers there, surely. Like I said, though, since he's come in at West Brom, he came in about the 30th of October, so he's not 2022, so he's not been there that long. He's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games and lost 2, 3 and drew 1. So it's a really good record from him. Really, really impressive. At Huddersfield, he did well as well, apparently. I have it on good record that he, got them to a place where they really had no right to be, near the playoffs. So he looks like a decent manager. Apparently, he's adaptable as well. He adapts and plays the way that best suits his teams. So that's very interesting. Other than that, I don't know a lot about him. But he seems promising. He's a young coach. He's only 39, which in coaches' terms is quite young. He hasn't won anything of note yet in terms of trophies. But I guess he's one of the others where young manager, you sort of go all in on him and see what he can cook. I can see the attraction of why our board are after him. He's a young, highly rated manager. It's got a little bit of the Marco Silva about it in terms of he's doing well. He's a young lad. The club are looking at him now like, could he be the guy to bring us forward? So yeah, watch that space with him, because he is one to look at. And if he doesn't come to us, and he manages to, I think he'll be. I think he's Premier League bound at some point. Um, come us or with or without us. Next we'll move on to someone who's a bit of a favourite, as well, which is Sean Dyche. Um, Obviously we know Sean Dyche very, very well. His Burnley were in the Premier League, came up, stayed in the Premier League for way past what they should do. He plays a 4-4-2 with a double six. He's done a coach's voices recently, which was really, really interesting. 425 games for Burnley as manager. He obviously managed Watford as well. But it's Burnley that I think most of us know him for. In those 425, he won 152, drew 114, lost 159. It is worth remembering as well, though it was Burnley. It was Burnley Football Club, and he got them into Europe, which is absolutely amazing. I think people forget because he was sacked before they were relegated, and just the stigma around him. I think people forget what he did. He managed to get little Burnley all the way into Europe. That's an amazing achievement for him. And we've not seen him with any tools better than what he had at Burnley. So there is always that question mark, that asterisk of what could he do with actual, decent players with him. I also think, I mean, I'm going to tell you now, guys, he's my choice. He's a safe pair of hands. He's got a good record against us. He plays a 4-4-2 that is working on direct football, which is what Everton seem to like. And he works really well with what he's got. And I watched him in an interview. He said, all I need to be told is what I'm in charge of at a club. And that's what I focus on. I can work around other people. Just tell me what I need to do and I do it. And maybe he's the safe pair of hands. I think that's what we need at the minute. I know he's not the most inspiring. He's not a Marcelo Gallardo, which loads of people have been touting they want, or Tedesco. But he is a very, very good manager that can work hard with low resources. He plays football to the strengths of his team. He got the best out of Dwight McNeil. He made Dwight McNeil look decent at Burnley. I think when you look at the tools we have, so Dwight McNeil, for as much as he's struggling, is a decent crosser. Damari Gray's a fast winger. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's fantastic in the air. Neil Moipai, a bit, but you've got two great centre backs in Cody and Tarkowski, who he's worked with. Two good midfielders that can hold it down and move, with Onana having the freedom to move. Two decent when Patterson's back. One decent fullback going forward. One in Mikalenko that's a bit more defensive. But I think this team, when you look at it, it really suits him more than anybody, bar maybe Sam Allardyce, which we'll get onto, and nobody wants that, I'm sure. So yeah, for me, I think he's the one that best suits our squad, and he's the one we know the most about. I get the reason people want Bielsa. The football, when it was great, was brilliant. But when it was bad, it was bad. And Burnley, looking at some of their results before Dyche got sacked, they have got a couple of losses, hence why he got sacked. But they're all like two. The worst one I'm seeing here is 4-0. There's no 6-0 batterings here. There's no 7 goals going in. He does control and tighten up teams, which is, you could argue, what we need when we're this open. So he'd be one of the ones I reckon's worth given the job to. Next we have Ralph Hasenhuttl, who again we know very well because it's Everton and you don't go outside the Premier League with Everton. Or if you do, the most we go to is the Championship, it seems. So yeah, Ralph, like I said, gegenpressing manager at Southampton, the Alpine Klopp, if you'd like. I'm gonna put under similar of Bielsa. It'd be really hypocritical of me to not slate Bielsa, but say my worries of Bielsa without saying them of Hasenhuttl, aka I think he's far too open. I think his style is far too open, and he has been punished. Obviously, manager of a number of clubs around Austria and Germany, RB Leipzig, then obviously Southampton. Um, yeah, plays a 4-4-2 as well, but it's a very high press 4-4-2. He's a very passionate man. I think he won the league with Austrian team Ingolstadt, or the German second tier division, sorry, with them. Um, yeah, I mean, it's really tough with Hasenhuttl because I saw somebody point out that he was given a bad hand in terms of the wage of that squad. This Southampton squad Southampton have been very lucky to stay up the last couple of years. I felt even under Hasenhuttl the last couple. I think their squad's aged. I think they've had to get sell players that are decent. It felt like they were hanging on by a thread a couple of times. And you never hear them spend. I mean, they spend a little bit, but never. Some clubs that come up spend quite a bit. So that is obviously one of the problems with Hasenhuttl is, well, one of the sort of asterisks is the wage was quite low there. So he managed 173 games, won 60, drew 38, lost 75 at Southampton. And like I said, obviously the bad run got him the sack. He's a passionate man. Obviously, everybody remembers him crying. But when you look at the results again, like I said, he plays expansive football. As much as it might look good when they do well, it opens them up for beatings. Newcastle beat them 4-1. They've also got those two, is it 2-9-0 losses that they had? They got beat 6-0 by Chelsea, 4-1 by Spurs, 4-1 by Leicester, 4-0 by Villa. They've just been absolute is it 8 or 9-0? They've been beat 5-2 by City, 9-0 by Manchester United. They're just far, far too open. And like with Bielsa, there's no coincidence. The more open you are with a team that aren't capable, the bigger your goal tally is that goes against you. I'm not saying him or Bielsa aren't bad. I think if they have the players, fantastic. Yeah, if Bielsa had City squad, maybe I'd be taught. Maybe he'd win more trophies. Maybe that's what he needs. He needs a team and finances to help build his vision. Almost definitely that's the case. Same with Ralph Hasenhuttl. If he went to a club that were capable, maybe he wins more because they can financially support him and get the players he needs to suit his system. But these are both project managers, and I fear right now Everton don't need a project manager. They need a manager who's going to come in and go, what have I got? This, right, let's make it work then. And these lads, bless them, these two managers are the type to come in and go, right, we're playing my style, watch the game and go, not great, don't have the players, but we'll continue because this is my style and this is what I know. And I don't really adapt from outside of that. And then what you do, everyone likes the idea of Bielsa. Not many like the idea of Hasenhuttl. But when we play Arsenal and it's wide open and the players are running around like maniacs and Arsenal beats us 6-0, everybody's opinion will soon change on him then. Which is worth mentioning. And then finally, the last one is obviously Sam Allardyce, a man we know all too well. Did really well with. I hate to say this, but he did do well with us when he was here. I don't like the man, and I thought his style of play was absolutely at times dreadful to watch. I don't think him and Dyche are completely in the same category, by the way. I don't think Dyche is as dire as Allardyce. I also just don't like Allardyce as a person. I think he's quite sleazy as well. and he was really unpopular. Fans were kicking off surveys. They were saying, there were those banners like "shove your survey, get him out." He was a really unpopular man at Everton. He did do well though. The points per match was 1.42. He dragged us up to, I think it was eighth we finished under him. So I'm not gonna say he's rubbish, because he did do really well and he works well with what he's got. He'd work well with his squad and shore us up defensively. But he is one of those managers where you just think, oh gosh, and he is a firefighter one. Like, if you've got him, that means that you're really in trouble. Um, so yeah, and Allardyce hasn't done well in the polls either. He's not a fan favourite. I think it's safe to say. We said, would you take Sam Allardyce at Everton in a set on an individual poll? He has been voted the lowest out of all of them, but we did do it in an individual. 7,819 he voted. 28.2 said yeah, 9.9 said no, and 61.9 said no. Sorry, 28.2 said yeah. 61.9% of you said no. So one of the first comments is 2 words: Genk Tosin. He really was. Is some of the players he signed, I think, are a little bit questionable. Genk Tosin being one of them. But yeah, so it depends what you want. He is a very break glass in case of emergency. His record at us was he won 10, drew 7, lost 9. Did get us a derby draw as well. Like I said, he did well at us. I hate to say it, but he did well. But he just was uninspiring, wasn't he? And he does have very short times at clubs recently since his England stint. West Brom being the most at 196. If you're in trouble, get Allardyce in to get you out of trouble, which unfortunately we are in, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes to us. But I'd rather Dyche over him, which is the main concern. But that's all we got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts. I know some of you'll disagree, some of you'll really want Bielsa, and that's fine. Comment down below your thoughts and reasons. I'll read them. I look forward to that. Nobody's right and nobody's wrong. Nobody can say I'm wrong and nobody can say that I'm right, or vice versa, because you can only judge it in hindsight, which maybe depending on, maybe in a year's time, if you come back and comment in a year's time, you can judge if I was right or wrong. But right now it's hindsight, isn't it? And it's a beautiful thing, like the saying says. But yeah, guys, I just think we've got to be really careful with the next appointment. And if it is a short one, the appointment after that, we've got to get these appointments right. There's a number of reasons why we're a mess at the minute, and one of them is bad appointments, across bad decisions being made from the top. But like I said, like the video, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts. I look forward to reading them. I'll see you.